Welcome to Courtside Moms. I'm your host, Wendy Sparks. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of sitting down with Miss Janie Williams, mother of Patrick Williams of the Chicago Bulls. Janie, thank you so much for coming on Courtside Moms.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, our boys are in the public eye often, and yet the public doesn't really know who they are. So, I'm forever grateful that you are here with us today to shed some light on who Patrick is as a
Okay.
person and not just an athlete. But before we get into your journey with Patrick, let's first hear about you. So, tell us is who is Janie Williams?
Janie Williams. I'm a mother. I'm a wife, entrepreneur from Shelby. I have lived in Charlotte many years now, many years. That's about it. I'm just an everyday mom. Love the sports. I officiated for years, a basketball official. I played for years. I am just your everyday mom from a small city from Shelby, North Carolina.
I love that. So, I know that you are a florist.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
let's talk about that.
Okay. I've owned Williams Florist 16, 17 years. I left a wonderful job that I enjoyed to step out there. The Lord said he had more for me, and I stepped out there in faith. And 16, 17 years later, we're prospering. Actually, we are just moving into a brand new location this week. So it's really been long nights, a lot of hustle, but a storefront. And we're just blessed, just blessed.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, your storefront's going to open soon?
It's already open. This is our
Okay.
third day in there. So, yeah, we're
Nice.
already there. Yes.
So, if people want to come and get some flowers from your company, tell us, where do they go?
We are at 2504 West Sugar Creek Road in Charlotte.
Wow, Williams Flores. I love it.
Yes.
So Patrick talks about when he was, I think he said almost in his 10th grade, he started working for you. So
Yes.
what was that like having him work for you? And it must have been surreal for your customers to see this like very tall individual, not your average height child, deliver flowers. So what was that like to have Patrick on as your employee?
Well, he is the third of the three brothers that also delivered for me. So to me, it was just work. You need money. I got plenty of work to do. So
That's so true, eh? It's like, we're not giving it to you. You're going to have to go to work
absolutely.
and get it. I'm not working every single day. I don't know why you get.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And these are things as parents that we have to instill in our kids, right?
That's right.
You want money, you want to go to this basketball tournament, you want these shoes, you want that
Right.
shirt, you want whatever. Well, here's
Right.
something you can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If it's nothing but bring bases up, put water, something you can do, which once he started delivering for me, many years prior to that, he was already doing the things that he could do around the shop to make money.
Yeah.
But once he got his license, now he could really make more money.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome to instill that work ethic in our kids, right? And I like the fact that there was something for him to do versus some parents don't own their companies. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you
Right.
have to now look for a job and bring, your child to wherever McDonald's or wherever the jobs that we get them. But here is like you have a family business. So it's like, no, Patrick, this is where you're going to work and you're going to help build our family business. I absolutely love that.
Right. Right.
So Patrick comes from a basketball family. Like you said earlier, both you and your husband played college ball, and his
That's right.
siblings are also basketball players.
Mhm.
What do you appreciate about him playing today now at the NBA level?
It's still giving us basketball to look forward to.
Yeah.
I love. But him playing at the next level is it was just a dream come true for him. So I'm proud that he can now live his dream. He worked hard to get there all of these years. He's one of those that just love the gym. So I never had to say, oh, you need to be here. He would always be there. And I love basketball. So it's hard for me to always be there. So we would always be in the gym late in the evening, at night, early in the morning together because we loved it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And it's so beautiful when you have parents that have a common bond, a common activity with their kids, right?
Yes.
And it's like teaching your kids at a different level. Mm-hmm. And I find kids appreciate so much when they're like, my mom likes basketball, my dad likes basketball. I can go to the court and play. They don't have to go look for that neighborhood kid to play with. They just go upstairs or downstairs and call mom or dad and say, let's go to the court, right?
Yeah.
So before we go further into Patrick's professional career, take us back to the beginning, though, and share with us your earliest memory of him playing basketball.
How far are we going? How young are we going?
That's up to you.
Okay. His first, what we remember most is when he first began, and he was probably 6 or 7. His dad has always coached all the boys. So Patrick, you would have thought it was track because he thought the objective was who's get to the other end the fastest. We like, son, where's the ball?
That's funny.
So his first year in the sport, it was more of a track. Who's going up and down the court fastest? And then he started evolving. But it was funny.
I love that. He's all the way down. He's like, okay, I'm here. What do I do? Meanwhile, everybody else is double teamed. You're like, Patrick, you're supposed to help.
Right.
Listen, this is how they learn, right? When they realize, wait a second, I don't think this is what I'm supposed to do. Let me evolve in this game. Let me learn differently. Mm-hmm. So with your family all being ballers, what was it like for him growing up in a house packed with basketball players?
I think he loved it. I hope he loved it. And I am now during my years of playing, I'm an aggressive. I'm one of the junk talkers. So and passive Patrick is more of the easier one. So I would say, Patrick, talk some junk to him when you're out there. Let him know you're gonna shut him down. So it was. I'm sure it was different. Now his father, on the other hand, is more like him. He's that easygoing personality. And so I'm the aggressive and he's the easygoing. So he got it different from both ends.
So tell me, when he plays now with the Chicago Bulls, are you the one telling him, you get in that man's ear?
You're like, son, bring him down.
Yeah. Be friends after the game.
Absolutely. Bring him down. Shut him down, son.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wait till the end of the game and y'all can go, I don't know, go where you want after. Go to wherever. But for now, like you said, shut him down. That's it. So let's move forward to him playing competitively.
Okay.
And then let's go to high school as well. Because I want to know when he started playing competitive ball. And I also would love to know about his high school. Where did he go? And what were those games like for you?
Okay. Competitive ball in the college league or the NBA league?
Did he play AAU?
He did, yes.
Okay. So let's talk about AAU. And how old was he when he played then?
Now, he has always played up. So if he was 16, he played with the 17, 18s. If he was 17, well, it only goes up to 17. So he always played up. So he was always with bigger boys, taller, more mature boys.
Yeah.
But I felt as though it matured him. It helped him grow. And we loved it. It was competitiveness because starting so young, all of my boys was blessed with talent. So on his age level, he was kind of more advanced. Mm-hmm. So in order for him to grow, we had to continue to put him in positions to reach. Yes.
Yeah. So is it fair to say that because you were a basketball player, you were able to recognize his abilities and, like you said, put him in positions that he was able to reach where he's supposed to reach?
Yes, knowing the talent level, knowing that if you're the best one on the court, you're not going to get better. Yeah. So seeing that and seeing the other kids at that age, be like, they look like they're just getting started. Patrick, you're going to have to move up in order for you to continue to grow or continue to get better. Yes.
You see, I love that you say that because you were able to recognize that as a parent. And it's fair to say some parents, we just don't know, right? We're like, oh, my son or daughter's the best on the team, and it's beautiful. But at one point, you have to decide, well, what is your goal? Do you want your kid to be the best in this community league? Or do you really want to flourish this? Does your child have potential to move forward? And do you as a parent want to move your kid forward? Because at that point, then they're going to have to go somewhere else. It's great that they're the best at the YMCA.
They ain't going to do it. Right.
That's it, right? So it's good that you had that knowledge to say, you know what? He's good, but he could be better somewhere else because here he's limited. There's only so far he can go, which is fair. Because, you know what I mean? If he's on level 10, everybody else is on level 3. Well, what is the coach to do, right? So
that's right. That's right.
And
we started out we initially started out in the charter schools, and all of them excelled the charter school level. I mean, all of our boys was the better in the charter school. We're like, okay, if they're going to grow, we got to get into public school. Because there's a big difference of charter school talent versus public school talent. So when we moved over to the public school and we went to West Charlotte and he tried out, and I said, well, Patrick, you will start if you go JV. He said, I'm going varsity. This is his first year there. I'm going varsity. I said, well, all right, son. Okay.
Patrick Williams knew what he needed and what he wanted.
Yes. And he worked so hard. And at that first game, I told my husband, I said, Patrick will be a starter before the fourth game. He will be a starter as a freshman because I seen how hard he worked. I seen his level, his talent. And before that fourth game, he was a starter as a freshman on the varsity team.
And he remained as a starter throughout his high school years, correct?
Yes.
And then, of course, now you have this son who's a talented basketball player who is flourishing. I'm using flourishing because you're a florist. And he's flourishing. And now you have incoming all these colleges that are interested. So we know that Patrick went to Florida State.
Right.
Tell us about his college recruitment from receiving letters in the mail from schools like Arizona, NC State, Virginia Tech, Clemson, etc. To you deciding as a family the must-haves that were important for him to make that choice.
Okay. Well, we done, I would say we visited 2 or 3 schools. Keeping an open mind. I didn't want to make the choice for him because I knew he was going to live the life. It wasn't up to me.
Yeah.
So we done a visit of 3 schools, and I kind of had my opinion, and I was listening or asking him the questions to see if he was, if we were on the same path with it. And but when we went to Florida State, he said, I've made my decision. I don't need any more visits. And I'm like, are you sure? He said he's sure, and that was it.
Yeah. You see, and that's good because sometimes for our kids, they're young. And sometimes when you visit too much, it becomes overwhelming and they really don't understand what they want, right? So sometimes, because I used to be that parent who would be like, no, see all your opportunities and then just go out there and do what you have to do.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's like, you know what? We've seen 3. I don't want to go see the other 2. They could be great, but I'm
Right.
okay here. I found my comfort
Uh-huh.
here. You don't want to remove
Mhm.
that, right? So good for
Mhm.
him that he was like, no, I'm good. Sorry, everybody else. Florida State, this
Yes.
is it. I'm a Seminole. Thank you very much. Where do I sign? And let's go
Yes.
play. So
Yes, because everything that was there, I was sold on him, but I didn't want to say anything until he said he was sold on.
right.
And
Right.
I'm like, great, I like them too. So
Perfect. So bring us now to Florida State games. And
okay,
what did you enjoy most about watching him play there?
I enjoyed seeing him at that level to see how he would fit in away from home with new teammates. How would he arrive at the next level? It's always like when I left home to go to college, and I had a nickname back in my city, and I'm like, how am I going to start all over again because no one knows me here?
Yeah.
So you have to create yourself all over again.
Right.
So it was interesting to see how he creates himself. So I said, Patrick, do they have a nickname for you yet? Because that tells me, okay, if they call you shoot them up or if they call you shut them down, then that means you're doing it on the courts. So that's my question. Hey, do you have a nickname yet? But it was real interesting just to see him evolve.
I love that. And that is so true. Nobody gives a nickname to somebody who is not doing anything.
Right. Yeah.
I never thought about that till just now. I'm like, she has a point. Note to self, everybody, get yourself a nickname. Just saying.
Even if you got to make up your own, huh?
Yeah. There you go. So I'm the whatever.
Yeah.
Prove to me why you call yourself the equalizer, sir. Yeah. So he played one season in Florida State, and then the decision came where he decided to declare for the draft.
Yes.
As mom, do you think he was ready at that time to make that big move?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
I thought he was ready. Now, my husband on the other end kind of wish he would have done another year, but I felt that he was ready through our talks. Are you sure? Hey, have you talked to the other teammates that have come and gone before you? They're giving him wise, sound advice. So, yeah, I felt that he was confident and he was ready.
Yeah. And that's good that you had that talk, because sometimes we could shed a little bit of light with our kids and say, I get that you want to be here, but you have to understand what comes with it.
Right.
And you have to be prepared for that, because as parents, we need to prepare our kids, but sometimes it's tough when we don't know what to prepare for. So we got to kind of gauge this and do our homework and just make sure that our kids have that ability to play one thing at a different level, but also live at that different level, because it's not the same, right? College ball and NBA ball is not the same.
Right. Well, we knew. I mean, there's facts that we know he's going to be around grown men. We knew he's going to be with bigger, stronger players, and he's going to have to build himself. These are the inevitables. If you're going to go in, you're always going to be the younger. You're going to be with grown men. You're going to be so you can't hold them back with the fear of who you're going to be around. I say keep them covered in prayer, and they'll be all right.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yes.
So preparing for draft, although it can be tough, it's also very exciting. So did he share with you the pre-draft workouts and conversations with the teams, and who he felt would draft him?
Yes. Well, now he was during the COVID year.
Yes.
So he didn't have all of the workouts that the other gentlemen probably are doing. His workouts were there at the location, agent, and I want to say they scheduled it, so it was one day, one another day. So
yeah,
I believe they done a number of 3, maybe 4 workouts total.
Yeah,
and they had an interest then, and they didn't do any more.
Yeah, it must. And you know what? Sometimes it's good. You're like, okay, this is where you're well positioned. So
Hmm.
let's focus
Hmm.
on that. And I can only imagine how draft was different then in 2020 during COVID versus
Right.
2019 and then later on, right? Or even
Right.
before all those years. Here you have these
Yeah.
kids that are wanting to go to the NBA. They have this opportunity. And you know what I mean? It's just different. It's like you don't get to
Hmm.
walk across the stage and you don't get to, you know what I mean? It's just
Right.
different. Still
Right.
exciting, still as
Uh-huh.
exciting. And I loved how it was done and it didn't matter. So let's talk about draft night for you and your family.
Okay.
Tell us all about that night. What was it like for you on that night? What made it special for Janie?
Mm. We had a small, intimate gathering. He didn't want it large. He didn't want. He just wanted a small, intimate gathering. We went rented a facility right downtown. Lovely food. It was just. It was just. Uh, it wasn't so big that it was nerve wracking for him. I think he wanted to keep calm and it was just lovely. Really was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had your family there with you. Everybody's
Right.
just relaxed, feeling zen, waiting for this big moment. And
Yes.
now here you hear your child's name.
Hmm.
Now, when you go in sitting there, I'm imagining we think my son has a possibility, a big chance, great chance to go. So we know. But then you actually hear the Chicago Bulls choose
Yes.
Patrick Williams, and he went fourth overall.
Yes.
Can you please tell me that moment? Now it's actually real. What did that mean to your family now?
I think we were just happy for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What was his reaction?
Patrick is an even keeled child. You would never know. um, uh, he probably didn't even have any expressions. He's just an even keeled child. You would just never know. Sometimes I'd have to say, "Son, are you happy?"
Yeah.
So yeah.
You know what? Sometimes it's hard to get emotion from people and you don't
Yeah.
know, right? So sometimes you're like,
Right.
wait, happy birthday, I think. Do you like the gift? Or they're like, yeah, I love it. And you're like, you would never know
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're just you're not sure how to gauge the reaction. You're like,
Right.
I think they liked the brand new car. I don't know. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's him. He's just even keel. Like I think I'm the only one in. So all of the boys took their daddy's traits, just even keel. Where if I like something, you are gonna know it. You know. So.
that's me too. I do cartwheels and yeah, you're
Yeah,
like, Wendy
yeah,
likes it. Wendy likes it.
yeah.
So I would love to know what it was like for you to finally see now your son debut in the NBA. And
Hmm.
what was that like for you? And compare it to the last time you saw him play in college.
Okay. Um, I would say exciting. I don't get too into the emotions of it
Yeah.
because I know that it was grace that brought him, and you got to stay humble and you got to stay thankful. So I don't get too into the emotions of that's
Mhm.
my son. I don't. I just say, son, I didn't see you. You were in the corner. I didn't see you shooting. I didn't see. Those are usually our conversations. Like pound and pull. I want to see you shoot it. That's about it.
I love
Instead
it.
of me raving on who he is and where he is, what he's doing, I'm more constructing the game.
But you know what? I'm sure he appreciates that because sometimes that's what the players need, right? Just to hear that
Uh-huh.
little buzz in their ear from,
Yeah.
what I mean, a loved one saying, we're not coaching. We're just saying, hey, this is what it is on the court. This is what we see,
Hmm.
right? Like sometimes I was
Right.
like, I would tell my son my opinion.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's an opinion. I'm nowhere
Yeah.
near an NBA coach. You know what I mean? So, but I'll tell him, hey, why don't you post up? Why don't you do this? You know what I mean? And we laugh about
Right.
it.
Right.
And we laugh about it. So that's like that relationship that we have.
It is. It is, and it starts. It strikes a conversation
Yeah.
where I'll say, Patrick, if we come off the screen and then he'll say, well, that play or in the NBA, you don't come off of this or you don't do that, and I'm like, what? And then that's a conversation where I'm learning that the NBA is a little different than what I'm used to basketball.
Yes.
So it's really good. It really is.
You see, isn't that great? Because I always say knowledge is knowledge, and we can always learn together. So just the fact that
Yes.
you can have that conversation with your son on his level now, because
Hmm.
like you're saying, well, I don't know NBA, but now you can say, my son and I actually engage in this conversation,
Right.
right? Because some
Yes.
people are
Yes.
limited. They're like, you played great, you did well, and it ends there because
And
we
that's
can't
it.
talk about the play. Because you know what I mean? Like you go in, did you do well? Are you supposed to do that? What does this position mean? So that's what I say to
Right.
parents. It's good to understand what your kids are actually doing. Take the time and learn the sport so that
Yes.
you can have this conversation with them
Hmm.
at no
Right.
matter what age. You know what I mean? Like to me, it's like,
Right.
yeah, our kids are 20 and 30 years old and they
Hmm.
have this craft, they have this talent. But if we can still have conversations with them about their talent, it's
Yes.
amazing. It's
Yes.
like him talking to you about flowers.
Right.
You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? You
Yeah.
you know flowers inside out. He can actually have a conversation with you, and now you can have a conversation with him about what he's doing and as his
Right.
job. So I love it.
Right. 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 Yeah, I can say, well, what's the conversation in the locker room? When you come to the bench, do they tell you that the paint is open? So we have that lingo back and forth, and it's not just how you doing, son? What you eat, son? It's basketball, which I love basketball. So yeah.
Maybe one day he's going to come to you and say, "Mama, I was telling them what you were saying in the locker." He's going to say, "My mama said." Yep.
Yeah. And sometimes I said, you tell them your mama
Yeah. Yeah.
said.
So Patrick experienced injury early into his professional career. So
Yeah.
how do you believe he handled that situation? And what do you think he learned from that experience?
Okay. I believe that he handled it really well.
Amen.
I was in tune, calling him a little more frequently just to see what are you
Yeah.
doing, what are you doing for it, and I believe in the old time remedies. Hey, have you done this today? Have you done that today? You need to do this every day. So just seeing how he's handling. Okay, what are you able to do now? What did the doctor say today? When can you do this? When can you do that? So I think he handled it well. I think he kept his mental state well.
Yeah.
Um, as far as what did he learn from his injuries, I think he learned that it can be taken away any moment.
Yeah.
He learned the appreciation of what he has been blessed with. And I hear that in an interview. Hey, when you've been away from 5.5 months of what you love, you really don't know you miss it until you're in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, injuries occur, right? I mean, my
Yes.
son, he's going on his fifth year.
Hmm.
Now he had an injury this year. So
Oh,
yeah, a broken nose. His knee just injured. He just actually had surgery a few days ago on his knee. So
oh my.
God bless. I said, I mean, you
Absolutely.
pray that our kids don't incur injury.
Yes.
Um, but this year, it just seemed he was forever getting hit in the face, and there was always
Hmm.
something. And
Hmm.
looking at that healing process was difficult for me as a mother to go to him and see his face swollen, black eye, you know what I mean? Because he's recovering from this new reconstructed nose because it was crushed. And
My
just to look to
goodness.
say, like, wow, like this is, you what did you learn from this?
Hmm.
Right. And like
Hmm.
you said, it can be taken from you at any moment. But
Hmm.
for him, it was also, what can I do now mentally to better myself? Let
Right.
me think now
Yes.
how
Hmm.
to, you know what I mean? How to be a different type of player, how to protect myself when I'm on the court. I mean, there's all these things that they have to juggle with. And we don't want them to think, oh my God, I got to get back. I got to get back. He did think that a lot, but at the same time, he understood now I can't go back tomorrow. I'm not going to drive
Hmm.
myself crazy for the next 10 weeks.
Right.
Let me reflect now and let me get myself mentally prepared to go back for when I'm ready, and when I can go, then I'm still that player that I was a couple of weeks before. So it
Okay.
takes so much gumption for them to think this way, because if not, they just sit there and they wilt and they're miserable and they're.
Right.
So I love Patrick's approach, where it's like, listen, I'm learning now that it's here, but it can be gone. So what can Patrick do to make Patrick better? So I
Right.
love that.
Right. And he learned a lot being on the bench. Now he has an opportunity to see the game instead of being in the game.
That's right.
So he said he learned a lot from that, just
Yep.
being able to be on the sideline to see it.
Right.
Now I see where I could have cut, or now I see this player, I see that play. So he was still learning, still engaged. So that was good.
And that's exactly what my son was saying when he was sitting there and he couldn't play with his nose, because of his nose. And he had to go to every single game. Like, they don't stay home. They got to come. And
Right.
he was like, oh, this is different. Because now you're looking at it from a different perspective. You know what I mean? Like, when you're, to me, when you're watching it during a game, you're watching, like, he's a center. So when he's watching the other center play, you know what I mean, waiting for his turn, it's completely different than when he's just not playing. And he's actually sitting there watching the entire game.
Right. Right.
And that's a teaching moment for them. So
yeah,
I know a lot of people don't see it that way, but that's what it is, right? So in your opinion, what kind of teammate do you think Patrick is? From just the conversations that you've had with him.
Right.
And
I think he's an A1 teammate. It's just from his personality, period. He's always been an A1 type of guy.
Yeah.
So I know that anyone that he is in relations with, the team, the office, I know that he's just going to be an A1 teammate.
Yeah.
What he can do to make the game better, whatever it takes for him to make sure he's ready in order to step up, show up to make the team better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. And you know what I mean? I think to make him better as well as a player,
Right.
You know what I mean? As a person. That's fantastic. So last year, Patrick played in the Summer League. And that is actually where you and I met.
Yes.
So what was that experience like for you? And what did you like most about your time there in Vegas at Summer League in August 2021?
Okay. The Summer League was really good because during his initial year, they had the COVID, so he didn't have the Summer League.
Right.
So when he came into the Summer League, that was actually his second year coming in, but it was over the summer, so just ending of his first.
Right.
So they thought it would be good for him to test his talent against what's coming in. He done phenomenal. Oh, he showed up. He showed up. I'm like, oh my goodness, boy, you look good, so I really enjoyed it. I did.
I love the fact that you were there at the games, and you know what I mean, and you got something from the games, right? That is
right.
Oh, I love that. I love going to Summer League. It's great. It's a lot of fun. You get to meet a lot of people on top of experiencing that time with our kids playing. Like you said, it's a different level, right? Because you have all the rookies that are coming in. You know what I mean? This year, in 2021, you had rookies from the previous year that came in that never played. They're playing at a different level. And it's funny because it kind of makes them the vets, right? For the ones that are coming.
Well, he showed up like a vet. I said, all right, boy. All right.
And I love the fact that you enjoyed that time at Summer League. So I'm curious, if someone were to ask you, what is the role of an NBA mom? What would your answer be?
My role is to make sure that he has quality people on our team, quality people that is around him, as much as I can control as far as his everyday guy and those kind of things. Just have mentors, godly mentors, direction,
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget your foundation. Don't forget how you were brought up. I know
That's
what
right.
the world is doing out there. I know you're with older men. But don't forget your upbringing. Um, on the business side, you want to make sure that their finances is managed well. You want to, and I'm very excited or interested in the financial side, so I know products and those kind of things. So just making sure you're managing the business as well as your son and the team themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So, speaking of finances, when our kids come into money, many things change.
Yes.
I know that you have a great insight on
Mhm.
this subject. So, what advice would you give to a parent of a rookie player on how to make sure that their child is financially safe or as financially safe as possible?
Okay. I would initially say to invest. We don't have to try to grow it anymore because they have the wealth now. We just need to make sure they maintain the wealth
Yeah.
versus a Main Street family that is trying to obtain the wealth. We have been blessed that we have the wealth. Our job now is to maintain it and grow it. So those would be the conversations on wise investments, things that's going to grow, where you're not going to lose. I witnessed one in the roller coaster of the stock markets and those kind of things right now. But just maintaining, getting educated on the products that's out there that gives great dividends, great returns.
Yeah. You see, I love that answer. And me personally, I would add to that,
Mhm.
don't be afraid to invest right away
Yes, absolutely,
because, yeah,
absolutely.
sometimes you have parents that say, oh, my son's just a rookie this year. Or, his salary's low, 800,000 or a million. We're going to wait, you know what I
Oh
mean,
my,
until his next contract when he's at
oh
10
my.
million and then we're going to start investing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? First
Uh,
of all, you're
right,
developing this habit. If our kids get into money and didn't have all this money before and they're not taught how to invest from the onset,
ooh,
by the time they get a couple of years in and they've already developed these habits of spending all their money with nobody managing, do you really
yes,
think come second contract that really they're going to start saying, let me allow so and so a company to come in and help me with my money? In their brain, they're going to be like, nah, I'm good.
I'm
And
good. Right,
yeah, I'm good. I've been doing it for the
yeah.
past couple of years. And I had to say to somebody once, because I was engaging in a conversation with somebody and we were talking about this. And she said, no, we're
Mhm.
going to wait a few years before we invest, help our son invest. And I was like, what are you waiting for? And she says, oh, we'll wait for the second contract.
Mm,
And I stopped her and I said, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but what makes you think you're getting a second contract?
right.
That
Okay.
can, you know what I mean? Let's be real.
Yes, it
You
is. But
have
did
that
that
money
go well?
now. But how you so sure? Like, how, you know what I mean? No, like,
Yes.
I was like, you're not doing your child or your family anything by
Right.
holding on. I understand that it's beautiful to get this money and you have what you feel is this financial
Mm,
freedom now because you weren't able.
right.
You know what I mean? I wholeheartedly respect that. But let's not think today.
Right.
You got to think 10 years from now. It doesn't make
Hmm.
no sense that you guys were struggling before. Then you come to a 3-year period where life is grand. And then on the fourth year, you're struggling again like you were 5 years ago. It doesn't make sense.
No, no, no. And this is one of my passions to educate the parents so that
Yep.
we can educate the children, our sons.
Yes.
And it is about growing so that when they end this game, they have something to fall back on,
Yeah,
something to thrive on. I don't want my son to just fall back on a little bit. I want him to be able to live the life as if he's still in the NBA.
that's right.
And and
Yep.
and we've done that from day one. I mean, the first year. Oh no, we're investing. We're putting your monies here. We put our monies where the banks and the large corporations put their monies because they're in the business to make money. So you don't have to recreate. Just follow the lead. So
Yeah.
those are the things we're doing, and we done it from year one. So these are the things I would try to educate the parents on. or
Yeah.
to assist the parents. Some people just don't have the desire to learn finances, but I
Yeah.
can tell them something, and I would say, go read about it, go research it. Don't just take my word for it. Always know where your child's money's going.
Absolutely. And I like the fact that you're saying that because, like you said, as parents, we have to invest time into
Mhm.
our kids investing their money. Because, like you said, not everybody understands. Not everybody's a numbers person. They don't get it. They just know he has a lot.
Yeah.
And- you know what I mean? But
Right.
what do
Right.
you do with that a lot? And how do
Uh-huh.
you make that a lot now multiply
Yes.
later on? And some people just don't have the capacity, and that's fine. That's fine. But don't be afraid now to ask for a resource, you know what I mean, for
Right.
your kid to have that, you know what I mean, that rolling money. So I love the fact that you're
Right.
saying
Right.
you can educate parents and
I would
show
love
them.
to. I would love to, because if someone feel that they could just call you on the phone that you don't know and say, "I want to handle your son's money," and you don't know a thing about them, you don't know if they're an atheist, you don't know if they can manage their own money, you don't know if they're in debt, and I'm like, and you just want me to trust you with my son money, and I don't know you.
Yeah.
Now, and some parents have to, because they're not interested in knowing about finances, but they don't have to.
Right.
They don't
Ex-
have to anymore.
Thank you. And exactly. You don't have to know about it, but to me, either vet these people that are
Yes.
coming to you or have your
Right.
child vet. But you have to do that homework. I get it. We don't get how I'm not a financial person. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I understand money but where now it comes to investments and growing, I'm limited. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I know, okay, you
Okay.
have you have this money and everything, you can grow it, but many of options that are out there, I'm the first
Yes.
that will hire somebody. However, I'm going to vet
Mhm.
who's hiring. What have you done with people's money? How have you made it grow? Different things. I didn't just say,
Right.
"Ooh, you're a financial consultant, cool." And then just no, 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 no. You
Right.
have to actually know who you're speaking to.
That's right.
Yeah. So, if I were to come to you right now and say, "Okay, Janie, my son has $1 million. What's the first thing you tell me to do with that money?"
um, I would say invest. Let's see, set up the family business. Let's do pension plans. Let's get the parents set. Let's get the sons covered. Do you have insurance? So for any
Mm.
career-ending injuries, do you have insurance? Do you have the pensions? Those are the kind of things that I would start saying right off the bat. Let's get set up.
Yeah. See, that's important. I like what you said. The insurance for injuries because that's
Yes,
important. That's very, very,
yes, it
very
is.
important.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Oh well, you and I will have to have a talk offline about investments
Okay.
and stuff because that's amazing and that's information that parents need to know, right? And
Mhm.
it goes back to my question about the role as an NBA mom, right? If we
Mhm.
have this information, you're laced with this, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So you're that person that we can just hoard to and say, Jenny, I don't know what to do. I don't. And you can say,
Okay.
listen.
Right. Do you have this? Do you have this? And
Yeah.
it's about keeping that blessing in the family.
Hmm.
you know, the son is in the NBA, but the parents is still working. Hey, are you part of his company? Have you set up a company for him? Are you the employees through the company? And it's about getting him tax write-offs so that in the end, he doesn't have to pay back all of the blessing that he's, the family's been blessed with.
Yeah.
You don't have to pay back half of it, 40% in taxes. So it's about all of those steps to get up to the main step. And this is how you grow your money because you keep your money without having to give it away.
See, I love that. And this is why I keep harping on this subject because we spoke about this last year at Summer League when I met you. And I was so intrigued. And I was like, oh my goodness, because these are things that, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm some people are just you're limited. And I didn't understand half of the things that you were saying.
Okay.
And because I was like, oh, because why? I'm not a financial consultant. I'm not an agent. I have
Right.
no clue about these things. But I certainly
Yeah.
went back to the person who takes care of my son's finances and asked
Okay.
questions because now I'm armed with questions.
Well, all right.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? And I
And
was
that's
like,
what
all
I want
right,
to do. I
yeah,
want to give the parents ammunition. So if they already have an
thank you.
advisor, they can make sure this is what we're doing because they work for you.
Thank you.
So you have to say, no, this is where I want my child's money. This is what I want you to do. And they have to do it or you fire them. You know, so a lot of times they'll give us their advice, but that doesn't make it right. We still have the final opinion if we have one.
Yeah.
So we have to know that we have the right to have an opinion.
So I love this. And you're 1,000,000% correct. And as parents, we need to put ourselves in a position to know.
Yes.
I'm not saying go out and get a degree in this, but what I'm saying is, like you said, arm yourself with the right information because
Right.
we hire these people and we put so much trust.
Mm-hmm.
However, their interest in our children is completely different. So we have to protect our kids. We have to protect ourselves and our families and our kids' investments and their money and their financial freedom later on.
Yes.
Because there's nothing worse when you hear some of these players where they're broke, but their financial advisors is, he's living off Freedom 55, man. He's good.
Yes.
So thank you for that insight that you just mentioned, because it is important that people understand, like you said, how to help your children, because that is the best thing a parent can give. Is advice on money. And sometimes our kids are like, Ma, you don't know, you don't understand, but we have to take that time to show them. This is what I've learned. This is what I've learned. And I've done this for you. I've learned so that you can understand this. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't steer you wrong. You came to me when you were on the court and when you're playing, when you're a little boy or a little girl and you ran and you had a bad knee and I came and I gave you the Band-Aid. What's the difference now? What's the difference now?
Right. And they just have to see us in that capacity. They have to know that we understand, because they're thinking, I have millions now. There's no way my parents know how to handle millions. But we just have to let them know, no, son. And I'll call Patrick and I say, okay, we're going to have a business meeting on this day at this time. When I'm going over investments that we're going to go into ETFs and REITs. And so we're talking about all of this. But I want you to put your thinking brain on, your thinking hat. Okay, it's business time. So I'll let him know in advance. When we come together, we're going to talk about what's our next investment, what are we going to do next. So he knows. And then I'll say, this is where I'm looking. I want you to go read on it, because I want him to know what he's investing in.
That's right.
I want you to read on it. And then we'll get back together when we got into the cash value insurance. Go read on it, read the benefits, read this, and then we'll come back together and we'll talk about it. So it's important for them to know, because the last thing we want is the advisor to handle a piece of paper right before it's time for them to go into court. They're not going to read it. They don't know what it says. They don't know what the percentage is. So I'm like, no, anything that needs to be signed, it comes through me. So the first thing I tell these parents is get the power of attorney. That way, no one takes anything to your child. You bring it to me, especially if it's something that needs to be read to understand. I break it down, then I give him the broke down version once we go over it.
Yeah.
But that's always the first thing I'll tell a parent: get a power of attorney.
Yes. Be very careful. Very
and that's
careful.
just a form. That's just a form to say anything comes through. You can come through me. I'm the representative. You don't have to go to my son. I read it. If I don't know, I call our guys on our team, the Patrick Williams team. I'll call them and we discuss it, and then we got a solution to it before anything is signed.
You see, and I like that, and that's great information, because people need to understand what a power of attorney is. I think some parents don't understand really what it is, and they just, or the kids, and they think automatically a power of attorney, that means you have control of everything, and it's all you, and then the kids have no control. And it's like, hold on a second.
Yeah.
It's different levels. There's different things you can do. What power of attorney is actually protecting the kids, because they don't know. They're like 19 and 20 and you know what I mean? He worked at a flower shop. You know what I mean?
But I can handle business. I can go to DMV to handle business for him. I can call up his bill. Anything that you would say, okay, you're not on here. I don't have the right to talk to you. No, I have the power of attorney. Oh, okay. Well, yes, I can discuss this with you. So anything that is pertinent to their life that they would have to know about, read about, put calls in, you can handle that business. And with their lifestyle being so busy, you don't want anything to fall through the cracks only because he was too tired, too busy to handle business. You would need a power of attorney so that you can make sure you can call and make sure that everything is done accordingly.
Yeah. Like I would advise parents either if you're going to do a power of attorney, then handle your child's business. If not, then be there with your child when they're handling business because they need to learn. They need to learn, sit there with them because a lot of times it could be things that go right over their heads. They don't know.
Yes.
Right over their heads. Like I said, he was 20 years old. What does he know about investing? You know what I mean? So anything that a financial advisor would say would sound great to a 20-year-old because he's like, I got things to do. I got to go on TikTok. I got to go on this. I got things to do.
And they're not even thinking. They're just saying, okay.
Yeah, because this is what he told me to do. Yeah, I like him. He's fam. He's great. He'll guide me the right way. And then after a while, you're like, where's that million again? Hold on.
Yeah, right.
Or I would ask, why did he say to do this? I don't know. Pardon? I'm like, wait, if your person is advising you to do things, that's beautiful because that's what we're asking them to do. But you have to understand why. Don't tell me, well, he said it's going to grow in 12 years. That's cool. What I want to know is how is it going to grow within the next 12 years? That's what you need to know. So arm your children with information. So I thank you for this part with you and helping us educate parents on this component.
Yes.
So what do you think that you've instilled in him that makes him a good person and player today?
Hard work, honesty, being yourself no matter what environment you're in or who you're with, always be yourself, be true to yourself. But I think the main thing is he's seen that I was a hard worker. He's seen that I'm always about growing and investing. And I was like, dude, Patrick, do you know this? Do you know if I do this, son, I'm going to make this? Do you know that if you do this? And it's always a pleasure for me to see how if I invest in something, then it grows. So they grew up hearing this and seeing this. So I think that's where the business side of him came in to know that, hey, you got to be business minded to have something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't just happen.
It doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't just happen.
You have to make it happen and you have to understand how you made it happen.
How you made it. And I heard him on one of his interviews when they were talking about they interviewed him working as a deliverer, and then they followed him to the gym and they seen his work ethics on the gym. But he said that, oh my goodness, I lost it. But he was talking about time management. And this is what I was so proud of. He was saying that in his environment at the school, so many kids don't have time management. And this is how they end up behind. Because if you can't manage your time, if you can't get up, early bird catch the worm, if you can't get up to get ahead of the other 100,000 that's trying to get ahead of you. But he's talking about time management where he had to be a student, come home, deliver. He didn't have time to stop and chat with the kids that wanted to chat and hang out. Hey, I got to get home and get the deliveries because now I got practice at 6 o'clock that I got to be finished by practice. So time management, I'm like, oh my goodness. So I was so proud when I heard that through the daily process. And this is where they learn. They learn from what you do daily.
Yeah.
Not you telling them something. all the time or once, but it's how you live in your life every day. They learn from this.
Yeah. Yeah. You see, Patrick had a good takeaway from his daily life. You know what I mean?
Yes.
As an amateur, and he's like, okay, like you said, I got to go to school. You know, I have to hurry, come home and work, and then I got to get to practice, and I have to do this, and I don't have time to hang out on the corner with friends, or sometimes, or you know what I mean? Sometimes I don't get time to go to the movies today. I'm sorry. You know, I maybe I can go another time, but right now this is my focus. Be different. I have to, because like you said, there's thousands and thousands and thousands that are trying to get into those limited spots.
Yes.
And I'm saying it's limited because when you look at how many people want to be there versus who can be there,
right,
not the same. Not the
it's
same.
Not the same. It's
yeah.
Not the same. Yeah. I know during his high school years, he went to college because he was so far in advance of the high school. Once he got there, I think he came in as a 9th grader, but he was almost 11th grade level. Because he came from the charter school that pushed him so far ahead. So by the time he was in the 11th grade and all of his classes was taken, and he's like, okay, I'll do gym, and I'll do gym 1 and gym 2. And I said, no, son, you ain't gonna do gym 1 and gym 2.
That's funny.
So he took college courses. So he's like, I'm the only young one in there, everybody else. But just to say, hey, don't do what everybody else is doing.
That's right.
This is an opportunity for you to be ahead. So when you go to college, so when he went to Florida State, he was already ahead.
Yeah.
His first year there. So.
Yeah. See, and that's amazing. Like he understood that, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want to do. I'm going to have to do a little, things differently than all my friends that are around me, right?
Right.
Good for him. So before we get into the fun facts, my question to you is, what is it like being the courtside moms of Patrick Williams?
It's good. There again, I got to give God all the glory. So it's I don't know. It's surreal. But it's if I can say that it hasn't changed me, it really hasn't changed me.
Yeah.
I was living good before my son crossed over, and with his blessings and with the gifts, I'm living good now. So I really can't say my life changed that much. I really can't.
Sometimes it doesn't.
You're right. I'm still working hard because I love what I do in the flower shop. So I'm still there. I'm not hands-on. I don't have to work it anymore. But I have a wonderful crew, and it hasn't changed much. It's just good to be in the limited position. We're blessed. We really are.
And it doesn't have to change us, right? You're still Janie.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Right. You're still Janie from, I don't know, 2008. Like, what's the difference? Like, how does the fact that our kids are in the NBA change who we are as individuals, right? It just, like a mom said, and I say this almost every episode, she says, when our kids come into the NBA, it doesn't change us, it changes everybody else.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yes. It changes everybody else around us. So you're Janie. You know what I mean?
I'm Janie.
That's it. You were awesome back then, and you're awesome now, period. So let's get into some fun facts now.
All right.
What is Patrick's go-to dish that you make that he must always have?
Well, I have 3 famous dishes. I have 3 dishes. I was an athlete, so I wasn't a cook. Yeah. The court was always where I was at, not the kitchen. Beanies and weenies, spaghetti, and they love those pigs in a blanket. Broccoli casserole. Those were my things. I think he loved the beanies and weenies the most. I think.
Listen, he ate it, so.
He ate it. That's right.
I swear, one day I'm either gonna have a Courtside Moms a cookout, and we're all gonna get together, or we're gonna have some sort of potluck. Just going to rent a hall. Because I ask this question every interview, right? So we're on like episode 100 and something now. So you imagine the food that we're all going to have. And I call all the moms come together and say, listen, bring that dish that I asked you during the fun facts.
Yeah.
We're just going to sit for like 3 days and eat. So what is one childhood item he couldn't live without other than a basketball?
Tennis shoes.
Oh.
He loved shoes. He loved shoes. So,
Love that answer. Okay. Did he have a nickname? And if so, what was the nickname?
No, he didn't have a nickname. No. No.
You got to tell him, get that nickname.
You have one from your parents. You have one from your parents, but they don't want you to ever tell it.
Yeah.
No.
It's like when our kids sit there, they're like, Mom, did you say Binky? You're like, no, I didn't. I didn't say anything. I didn't tell anybody in the interview. I swear to sit on the interview. See, tell Patrick that you told me a name, so he'll sit and watch the interview. Don't tell him it was at the end. What advice would you give to another courtside mom about dealing with a coaching decision that she does not agree with?
I would say we're never going to agree with what coaches do. Never, especially if we're an athlete. Because my husband was a coach, and there was parents is like, why did they take him out? Why do you know? So we're never going to agree with what a coach do. And I know I'm never going to agree because I'm the aggressive type. And if there's a coach that's not as aggressive, I'm like, why is he doing this? Mm-hmm. So I usually don't take those things to Patrick too much. I may ask the question calmly. Why did he take such and such out? He hit 20 points. Why did he take him out? But overall, I'd say we're never going to agree with what coaches do.
Yeah, that's true. What advice would you give to a player about how to deal with a tough teammate?
Tough in what manner?
Let's just say Patrick comes home and says, you know what, Mom, I have a player on my team that I can't do anything right. No matter what I do, he is never satisfied with the way I play. He just talks down to me. Something like around that nature. What would you say to Patrick to do? How to deal with this player?
I would probably just say, keep your distance, stay cordial, let your words be few, because their attitude, I wouldn't want that to become part of his, what makes his day or what breaks his day.
Yeah.
You know, because you're always going to run across people that for some reason they think their opinion matters, or even if they're not a positive personality, they're wanting to impart that on you. So I wouldn't let that change your day. Yeah. And that's what I would tell them. But don't let it change your day. And if you know that you're doing the best you can, just don't listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. My last question to you is, if you could give one piece of advice to another courtside mom, what would that advice be?
A piece of advice. Enjoy the moment. Don't stress. Just enjoy the moment, Yeah.
Love it. And it's true. Why stress what you can't control?
Right.
The moment is here for us, for our kids. Enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And
let them enjoy it as well. Yeah.
Yeah. That is true. Yeah. That is true, because sometimes it just becomes too serious.
Right.
They put themselves in a position with parents' help to make a job from a game. So now let's build on this and allow them to become who they are, but enjoy it in the meantime while you're doing that, because sometimes you miss it. Sometimes after 5 years, you're like, oh my God, I didn't realize
Right.
all this has happened. So enjoy every step along the way. So I love that advice. Oh,
Thank you.
JD, I love this conversation. I
Well,
really
thank
did.
you.
And you were amazing. And thank you for coming on Courtside Moms and spending some time with me
Absolutely.
and teaching me about you, teaching me
Thank you.
about
Thank you for
Patrick.
the invite.
Yes, and teaching us about financially saving our children,
All right.
giving us some advice. Yeah, because that's very important. And I appreciate that because that is some great information that parents and players need to know,
Mm-hmm.
especially. I mean, of course, the parents that are there now, but then when you look at amateur parents of kids who are up and coming,
Right.
this is things that they can prepare themselves for now rather than
Right.
waiting until your kids are in that situation and then it's a rush. It's overwhelming where you have time to prepare yourself and say, okay, this is the direction that we're going. Let's help our children today so that when we get there, it's just easy. And then we can enjoy the moment. The moment won't pass us.
Right. 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 And I am speaking with some parents now, and I'm giving them those 1, 2, 3 steps to make sure this is in place. Sometimes they have the information. I'm like, sometimes they're like, I haven't heard that, but and they're writing down, they're taking notes. So anything that I can help, even if they know that their child is in that direction, not there yet, but still, these are the steps to already know. Okay, get my team together, set up a family business. All of these little things, it's just going to make everything else smooth.
Amen. Yep, you couldn't have said it any better.
Well, thank you.
And let's talk soon.
We will. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
You want done, baby.